And here's one for the kids. No kids. This kind of work. This kind of work leaves the hands hard, the mind soft. All day, day after day, it takes its toll on the ears, the back, your knees, the arches in your feet. The kind of work you can wear the same shirt 2 days in a row, don't need to shave or clean your nails, drilling, pounding, lifting, measuring, exactness, inserting something into something, to code, to specifications, as other eyes inspect. Rampant curses, sonic boom belching, the hollow slam of plastic door to the latrine, the check in the mail already spent. The kind of work they warned you of if you didn't do what they said. And you didn't. And now you do. We're moving right along. Now I'm 30 years old and I'm drinking a lot and living in Chicago. At Byron Barew's off Clark Street. At Byron Barew's off Clark Street, they asked us to leave after we'd been drinking there for some time, and we did for a little while, until Martin said we should go back in and moon the bartender, which he did. Too low and half-assed, I said. Like this, you moron. I climbed up on a stool, got my pants down, my underwear down, bent over with my ass level to the bar, right where the bastard had to see it. Then lost my balance. Fell over, stool and all, with my bare ass onto that ancient peanut shell dust bunny, tumbleweedium, splinter-riddled, nail-exposed, tar and gum-filled, cracked bare board floor with its 100-year-old filth, trod upon by rebels and convicts and sailors with SIF, soldiers on AWOL, slumming frat boys, drunken Irish like Martin, and the poets who don't write and the writers who never say what they mean. From across the bar, I could hear Martin laughing, braying like an asshole, and the bartender who had missed it all telling us to leave all over again. As I struggled to join my belt and buttons, clutching dignity from the jaws of a bad moon rising. Life in bars. We lived in bars, the Irish bars on Clark Street, the downtown dives, the good happy hour bargains, the late night, early morning piano bars, the bars that stayed open after all the others had closed, the bar that opened early featuring a good Bloody Mary and signature sausage gravy, the bar with no questions asked, the bars with the best jukebox, the bars with bands and no cover, the bars with pitchers and never-ending pretzels and meatballs with toothpicks, bars where I avoided some and sought out others, literary bars and sports bars, bars with steamed hot dogs and a TV wherever you turned, bars where the bartender told good jokes, daytime bars, old man bars, that all-black bar where my Irish sweetie asked the men playing pool, "Talk black to me." They bought us drinks the rest of the night. Bars where everyone knew your name and bars where nobody talked, nobody went to that seemed only to exist for you. That bar I worked in and met her at and lost my bartender job for serving her. The bar we could never go back into after she fell over backward on her stool and I carried her home, put her to bed before going out to another bar. Folded. She was a chain-smoking, bad-tempered, drunk, beautiful, Irish, surly, but she could really fold clothes. She worked at the Gap, folded clothes all day, would arrive home, refold whatever I may have folded, and fold that which I had not. We lived on the floor without furniture, bottles lined the walls, the ashtrays overflowed. There was no dresser or closet, and these folded clothes sat in neat little piles along the walls where bottles had not yet been placed. There were more than a few wrinkles in our relationship, but aside from the cigarette burns, our clothes looked good. And the creases, for the most part, were where they belonged. making it easy that last time I packed. Here's some more Marvel comics for you. This is called the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four, they were family and behaved like family, albeit a comic book family. Ben Grimm, Reed Richards, Sue Richards, and Johnny Storm. Reed was married to Sue, who was sister to Johnny, the perennial fiery teenager who was always sparring with Ben, the Thing, science chum of Reed's. They had been struck by a cosmic radioactive something or other on a trip to the moon, which affected them all differently, giving them their powers. I liked imagining how their powers affected their genitalia. Reed Richards could stretch his cock like an engorged anaconda, then make it disappear in Sue Richards' invisible snatch. Johnny could make his cock burst into flames or shoot fire. That would have been fun at the Clap Clinic. With his orange, bricky body, Ben's Thing would have been a whole nother thing. His petite girlfriend, Alicia, who conveniently was blind, would have no trouble finding her thing in the dark. There was always so much more to them than their monthly 20 pages allowed as they battled Doc Ock, Dr. Doom, the Submariner, and the Hulk, the Mole People, the Watcher, the Silver Surfer, all the many cosmological catastrophic cataclysms that could face any family, saving the world or universe again and again, practically every issue, just as weird and fucked up as any Tolstoyan family, but staying together, a family unit, dysfunctional, yes, but working through it. The most incredible and fantastic, far-fetched plot device of them all.
Woo!
Okay, this is one I like. Okay, we're close to the end here. 4 more. Eating pussy. I don't know if I can read this with Peggy in the room. Eating pussy. I've been down here for an hour, licking, sucking, darting my tongue one way then the other round the old pink. My lips have gone numb. The tongue feels ready to fall off. It's been too long with too much work to admit defeat. Besides, she's close. Writhing, back arched, nipples hard. I've got my hand under there and am tempted to shove a finger up something just to keep myself engaged. I hump the side of the bed. I think about shopping at Safeway. About that funny noise my car's been making. About a poem I might write if I ever finish up here. I'm drowning in her juice. I want to clear my throat, but that would only remind her that I'm here too. I wonder what she's thinking of. The Oakland Raiders, 1,000 bikers roaring down the highway, her parents' Great Dane. Fuck, I have a cramp in my foot. My dick's been going up and down like the stock market. She groans, I groan. I glide my fingers up those lubricacious holes and halls. She grabs the back of my head. I'm going down like Alice in Cunningling's Land. She jerks with the spasms of the dying. I think I'm going to sneeze. Oh God, that was great, she says. I clear my throat. Scratch my head, wipe my face, rub my foot. My turn. Okay, 3 more and the poem, the 20-year romp is over. All right. This is going on right now, or just has gone on. It's Fat Tuesday down there in New Orleans, give or take a weekend, and I was there about 4 years ago, and I wrote this poem. Fat Tuesday. The streets were filthy with beads, piss, beer, puke, a week's worth of debauchery settled in a single day, with drunks of every race, class, nationality, unified, surrendering and slumming with the bottle, buttloads of bottles, cans, cups, and those ubiquitous bright green plastic grenades called the Hurricane. Manufactured husks and human husks filled the street, littered the sidewalks. A plump girl in a tight purple dress and heels ran past us, pursued by a greasy young man, lanky, dark, unctuous, a mustache, looked like he pumped gas for a living. She was blonde, made up, pissed off, stopped beside a building just before us. She'd been crying. He grabbed her, tried to kiss her. She clocked him. They fell back into a doorway of a business not open. A half block later, she ran by again, and again he followed. Her ass straining through that purple dress, stretched like a second skin. Her fleshy shoulders heavy with anger, heaving with emotion. He grabbed her. She swung at him. He blocked this, held her wrist. She sobbed into the crook of his neck. He stroked her curly, dyed blonde hair. Her eyes bled all over him. The streets were full of staggering, beaded people, some costumed and masked, growing scarier in the dark, trying to be with it, have a good time, score, or a good time gone bad, trying to get out of it, get loose, stay tight, not fall, not get beamed by beads from above, or in our case, rear-ended from behind. As again, she raced by, and again, he caught up, shook her like you should never shake a baby. She broke his hold. Her metal fists spread like flowers, her painted nails clutching the air. His were extended, stained, pleading. It looked like the end of something or a brand new, war-torn beginning. Not a comedy, that's for sure. Last tango in French Quarter. I could already hear the music, minor keys, somber bass, tortured brass. She passed us again, carrying her heels, her fishnet feet black from the street, everything pulling within that tight hemline, that big, round, purple ass moving up the street like a planet, orbiting weirdly around our gravity. They formed a single silhouette, he into her, and she into him, swallowed by the night. Just another couple on Fat Tuesday. Too much something, maybe one another, maybe something else, full of rage, hurt, hormones, youth, liquor, you name it. These kids had it all. Oh, to be in love like that again. All right, the penultimate poem. That's the only time you can use that word. This is called Scandalosa. There was that day with you in Mexico City, you in that silky short skirt prompting that lady coming up from the subway to blurt out, Scandalosa, shaking her head and pulling tight her shawl. That skirt that turned 1,000 heads like well-oiled turrets, like an owl with impulse control issues. We laughed as I guided you over a grate, causing your little dress to fly up Marilyn Monroe style. That famously recorded scene that drove the final nail through the heart of her 9-month-long marriage to Mr. D. Unlike the Yankee Clipper, I loved every glance, gaze, and open-mouthed stare from that 20 million-plus town, admiring those long, shapely legs that only I could touch, with my arm around you or holding your hand lest you blow away, walking you in and out of cathedrals and museums, across the Zocalo, and that department store where I had you pose in front of a dozen headless mannequins before we stopped for lunch, where you were eyed by the waitstaff and all those in passing, taking us in as I devoured every bite, mopping up the excess with a tortilla. God, how I loved you that day. Us walking around that great big town. That may have been our best day ever, which was better than Dante ever got from Beatrice, or Romeo's one-night stand with Juliet. Far easier than Joe ever felt around Marilyn, a guy used to playing center field, who thought he was famous until he met her. This is timed out if you'll hurry to keep track of your time.
Oh, definitely.
At this much beer, it's time to get off stage. Okay. This goes back to that job poem. This is the kind of jobs you get. High school dropout and college graduate, oh well. This is called Feral Cats. 6 nights a week from midnight to 6 a.m. I'd clean the Samoa cookhouse, I'd haul 20 to 30 cans out into a wooden deck below which lived hundreds of feral cats. I'd lift and dump the cans into a big green dumpster while grabbing handfuls of fish and chicken and ham that I'd toss beneath the deck into this celestial sea of sharp green eyes, flashing hatred and hunger, catching the slatted light slicing down from above. I'd disperse as much meat as I could before someone would emerge, telling me to hurry up, get in, and do the kitchen. I finished the kitchen just as the bakers arrived to bake their breads and pies, the smell of which made me crazy with hunger as I moved through the dining rooms, mopping berry stains and chicken grease and ham fat from the floors. Music played throughout the night, highly offensive renditions of Bob Dylan and the Beatles before I Can't Get No Satisfaction in that same ghastly format might drive me from the room screaming. Then Winchester Cathedral, Misty, Moon River, Pennies from Heaven, and All Things Mancini would intercede, and I'd grow calm again, continuing to work amidst the aroma of pies and bread that I was never offered one single crumb thereof. Now and then my boss appeared, a large, hulking, red-faced man, usually eating fresh pastry, to inform me I had missed a spot or that I wasn't moving fast enough, a pace I kept up until my one break at 4:15 a.m. when I'd go out and smoke a cigarette and sometimes a reefer. Often this coincided with the garbage men who backed their large trucks into the dumpster, lifting and compacting, prompting hundreds of cats to scramble out back into their safe haven beneath the deck. I'd listen and always hear one or two of them scream inside the compacting garbage, their hideous screech piercing the mechanical crushing drone, and my heart would sink as if I had killed them. If only I had given them more. Was it a mistake to have given them any? I never knew. I only knew that this was the lousiest $1.95 an hour I had ever earned, and better days had better lie ahead. I was 19. I didn't know how much more of this shit I could take. And as I finished up, I'd see the all-you-can-eat breakfast crowd lining up, salivating in anticipation of freshly baked pies, ham, bacon, sausage, gravy, pancakes, and eggs. And I'd take my mop and water and rinse everything out until mop and bucket were as empty as I was, clock out, climb into my bug, light up a fatty for the long drive home. As night receded into dawn, head back to where I lived with the woman who fucked and fought with me like a cat, and with whom, as time wore on, I wished more and more was an actual cat who would curl up to me and purr, turn its chin up round to mine, and tell me, "It's okay, kid. I know you tried, and I know you'll try again tonight." Thank you.